Hi, Live My Health family. Thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, June is Stress Management and Awareness Month. If you haven't already done so, go to our page at livemyhealth.org and register for the event coming up on June 25th. You won't want to miss it. Today we have Yamade House, who's here to talk to us about stress. Yamade is a nationally board-certified licensed professional counselor. She has over 8 years of experience helping individuals, families, and groups dealing with anxiety, depression, relationship difficulties, and much, much more. Yamade, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Lauren.
So, first question for you. We want all of our viewers and myself to start with a baseline of understanding from a counseling perspective what exactly is stress and what are the things that cause stress?
So that's an awesome question, Lauren. When we think about stress from a mental health point of view, we're thinking about whatever consciously, unconsciously, or subconsciously inhibits a person's normal functioning. When we talk about physiological stress, we're thinking about anything that puts a demand on the brain. Mm-hmm. So for instance, if you have to move and you have to pick up a box, mm-hmm. your body is going to adjust to the weight of that box. You may stand differently, you may posture yourself differently, and you may proactively think about how to maneuver with that box. That's a tangible stress. But unfortunately, in our day-to-day lives, mm-hmm. with our mental stressors, we aren't as proactive. Mm-hmm. And literally anything can be stress. And it just depends on who you are. So for instance, if I am late for work and there's construction on my path to work, and then I'm going to be 15 minutes late for work, mm-hmm. and I go to work, and then there's a project that I'm procrastinating on, these are all stressors that are going to affect me physically. And so when we think about mental health and mental health illnesses, many illnesses are due to stressors. So when you have people who have panic attacks or anxiety attacks, mm-hmm. post-traumatic stress disorder, substance abuse or substance use, many of those are triggered because of someone's stress demands and not being able to proactively deal with that.
Wow, so you're saying pretty much anything that we experience or go through on a day-to-day basis can be a stressor on our life if we're not managing it in a way that's most beneficial to our bodies.
Exactly.
Wow.
When we think about stressors, mm-hmm. we need to think about what is, again, inhibiting our normal functioning. So are we drinking more? Are you withdrawing from your friends more? Mm-hmm. Are you losing weight, gaining weight, eating differently? Other things may happen too physiologically, like panic attacks, headaches, sleeplessness. These are all indicators of a stressful lifestyle. Also, another indicator is, are you glorifying your stress? So, if you're telling your friends, oh my goodness, I only slept 2 hours last night. I had 4 Red Bulls. I, did an all-nighter with this project. Mm-hmm. That is stress that you need to identify in your life, because we actually need to be doing a better job of glorifying our self-care and taking care of ourselves and taking time for ourselves, as opposed to glorifying things that are stressors in our lives, like, the fights that we get into with our friends or our family, mm-hmm. or even, not being able to do our best and be our best because of the stressors in our lives. So when we want to manage our stress, the thing we have to do is be proactive. So like that example with the box and moving, you mentally prepare for a move. You mentally prepare for something that's physically demanding. Yeah. You need to do the same with stressors. So when you know that there's going to be construction on your way to work, or you procrastinated with a project, come up with ways to go ahead and do that demand, but do it in a way that is less stressful for you. Another important thing is to acknowledge stress. When I meet with clients individually, I'm always giving them credit, because in our lives we don't do that enough. So if we acknowledge that we're doing a lot, that we're stressed, that we're stressful, or we're leading stressful lives, that in itself is managing your stress, because your stress is going to come out one way or the other. Our lifestyles usually are very avoidant, and we try to avoid things that cause us stress. But if you sit there and acknowledge that I am stressed right now, that I have a lot on my plate, that I need help, I need support, that is the first step, so that you can say, okay, I'm going to proactively do something about it. Another great way to manage stress is also getting yourself organized and going ahead and putting, that bookshelf together and putting all your files and papers away and throwing things away. Getting yourself organized will de-stress your life. When you live with clutter in your life, be it a cluttered desk or a cluttered home, that can feel overwhelming, and that can also be an indicator of a stressful lifestyle. Something else to think about that I haven't talked about yet is being authentic to yourself. If you are living in a job or a lifestyle that isn't authentic to yourself, that too can be causing stress. So a great example is if you have a Toyota, for example, but you're sitting here and saying, oh, I need that Mercedes-Benz. One thing that I will talk to my clients about is, do you really want the Mercedes, or are you going after what the Mercedes stands for? And if that's the case, is that authentic to yourself? Are you chasing a lifestyle, or is that who you really are? And lots of times that's not authentically who we really are. And being your authentic self will reduce the amount of stress in your life.
So now the question becomes, when is a good time for someone to seek counseling, and how do you find a counselor that is the best fit for you?
So you should see a counselor immediately if you are having physiological symptoms. So if you're stressed and have sleeplessness, losing or gaining weight, if you're losing your hair or have chronic headaches or chronic illnesses, these are all symptoms of stress, and you should immediately get help, because if you go to a doctor, they're probably not going to be able to prescribe something for you. But another time to get help is just when you need a place to vent, a place with a non-judgmental feel, so that you can go through and figure out what is going on in your life. And there are some awesome counselors out there. And sometimes people get deterred because the first counselor or therapist they meet is not a great fit. And if you are sick and something's wrong with your body, you're not going to stop seeing the doctor or not see a doctor because the one you picked or your doctor is not a good fit. So you should go through as many therapists or counselors that you feel until you find the right fit and the right person for you. And your therapist or counselor can be found either through your insurance or going through Google, Psychology Today. These are all tools to help you find someone who is an exact fit for you.
Okay. And what can someone expect from a counseling session?
So sometimes people think that counseling sessions are advice-giving sessions. You are the expert in your life. So your counselor or your therapist is not going to be able to tell you what you should do.
Okay.
That is a misnomer. So when you go to therapy, people sometimes get deterred because the first several sessions are usually about giving information on themselves. And so they get deterred because they have to give and talk about the problem over and over and over again. But that is the best way for a therapist to help you. And when you go to therapy, it should be a place that is non-judgmental, that is a place where you feel free to talk freely about your issue, and some place to navigate your thoughts and figure out exactly what it is that you need for yourself.
Okay, so for our final question, we're going to call this the top 3 takeaway. What are the top 3 things that you recommend can help people better manage their stress on a day-to-day basis?
So the first thing would be to find joy each and every single day. So for me, I know that I might take a mental vacation when I'm stressed out by watching something funny. And those 5 funny minutes alleviate so much stress. And so finding joy, whatever that may look like, each day in your life. Another thing that's really important is to be and have some type of mindfulness, relaxation prayer space on a continuous basis. So regardless if you do it every day or every other day, having a time where you're at peace and you're just being thankful and thinking about your day and being present. And then the last thing that's really, really important and actually seems kind of counterintuitive to what people do is that when we are stressed out and when we are upset and we have a lot going on, we tend to isolate ourselves from other people. And that's actually the exact opposite of what we should be doing, because it is human nature to want to be connected. So when we're upset and when we're stressed, we may isolate ourselves, we may not be around our friends and family, but it's important to do the exact opposite. Find a friend, find a family member that you can talk to that can be supportive for you. And that person shouldn't be someone who you are responsible for, or somebody who is dependent on you. It really needs to be an objective third party who can give you the support that you need when you are all overwhelmed and stressed.
Wow. So you hear it, folks? Find joy, something every day that you can do. Be mindful and stay connected. All right, well, thank you so much, Yamane, for taking the time out to share that information with us on how to be more aware about what's happening in our own bodies and how we can better manage our stress. And so we hope you enjoyed our video for today. Take a look at the rest of the article, and you can find Yamane's bio and the link to her website. Please feel free to check it out. If you have any questions, as always, go to the bottom of the homepage and send us a message. We thank you so much for watching, and we hope we see you next time.